I want to ask about the elephant in the room. How do you think things are looking for the next election? And people that are watching us right now who are thinking about, you know what, anything but Team Red, Team Blue, why should they send their vote back to the coalition, even if it is a preference, not first preference?
I just say to those people, think back to maybe that same view that you had in 2007. It's a long time ago now, and maybe it's gone from people's minds when people thought, well, you know, John Howard's been around long enough. Don't like some of the bits and pieces that he does. We didn't like him on gun laws, or we didn't like him on some elements of signing up to Kyoto or whatever it was. You ended up with Kevin Rudd, and then you got Julia Gillard, and then you got Kevin Rudd, and you got the Greens Alliance, and you got all of that, mayhem at our borders. People drowned at sea. We lost control of our sovereignty. That's the same scenario that we're going to face at the next election. This is going to be a tight election. Don't have any fear of that. That's the reality, and we need to deal with it. And if people think they can park a vote against us because they're not happy on what we've done in relation to different elements, or we haven't done in this area, that's a ticket to the Labor Party becoming government and Anthony Albanese becoming Prime Minister. And, you know, no Liberal Party, no National Party, no government is ever perfect. And I think people just need to bear that in mind. By parking a protest vote, that is a vote for Labor. It's one less vote for the coalition member to be elected to form the government in the lower house and to have control of the Senate. You know, we're as frustrated in the Senate as, you know, many of our supporters, because we just don't have the numbers, and we have to rely on one nation, and then we have to get the votes of Sterling Griff or one of the other independents from South Australia or elsewhere. The Greens and the Labor Party have the numbers in the Senate, and they did have when Labor was last in power. So we've got to deal with the reality of what is, not what we would like it to be. And I think at this election, more so than any in recent history, the issue of national security is incredibly important. There is no more important issue than keeping our country safe, keeping our people secure, making sure that we're making the right decisions. And after the election, if Anthony Albanese becomes Prime Minister, Brendan O'Connor becomes the Defence Minister. He's had a very long, I'm sure, distinguished career in the union movement, nothing else. And if that's the secret to keeping our country secure, I just don't agree with it. So if you are passionate about our country, if you're a patriot and you want us to be the most safe and secure country that you can be, then vote for the Liberal and National parties on that reason alone.
Let's talk about net zero 2050 or death, taxes, net zero 2050. All are inevitabilities whether people like them or not. Labor also has the net zero target, but of course they have no target when it comes to 2030. They also promised to legislate the target for 30 years away, but I repeat, they have no plan for the next 3 years.
And Paul, don't forget at the last election, Bill Shorten promised 45% reduction by 2030. And the reality is that would have been crippling to businesses. Electricity prices would have gone up astronomically, no question. You would have had a situation where I think they'd have a more radical agenda across, you know, all of these public policy areas that we're talking about, but including the environment as well. We aren't signing up to a plan that is going to close mining in this country, because we have hundreds of thousands of people who are employed, who contribute to this economy, who help pay for our schools and our education system, our hospitals and our police officers, and we are not going to bring that industry to a close. The Labor Party would. They are so duplicitous when it comes to mining. Anthony Albanese goes out to central Queensland, doesn't take the media with him, you know, pats the miners on the back, says everything will be okay, mate, your job's secure, and then goes back to the coffee shop in his electorate in his city, Sydney, and tells them the complete opposite, that the industry is going to close. We aren't going to sign up to a plan that's going to negatively impact on our farmers. We just aren't. But equally, we need to be realistic about, from the Queen, Rupert Murdoch down, people have signed up to a zero 2050 target. That's the reality for many of our trading partners. And we can't stop Japan or China or other trading partners from saying that they don't want to purchase coal or iron ore or beef or whatever the commodity is. So we've got to deal with the international reality. And I think from our own perspective, we can be fighting about climate come the next election. We'll lose that election, and Anthony Albanese will do all the things that we've just summarised. Or we can have a pragmatic government that is about making sure that we can secure jobs, that we can keep small businesses going, that we can keep our country safe and secure. But Scott Morrison's the only option at the next election that provides that to you. And we've got to keep reminding ourselves of that. This is a two-horse race. And Albanese, maybe with the support of Adam Bandt and the Greens, is able to form a minority government after the next election because people have lodged a protest vote against us. It's a disaster for our country. So I just think we need to distill all of that when people are making their decisions about where they're going to provide their first and second vote at the next election.